Hi there, I'm Andrea Koppel, and it's Time for Coffee, the podcast where you get to hear firsthand what the jobs and careers that interest you the most are really like. Hey there, Java Junkies. Welcome to another K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. By the way, K-Cups come in 3 sizes, single, double, and triple shots, or roughly 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes in length. So if you don't have time to throw back an entire caffeinated career conversation, these K-Cup mini episodes of T4C can give you a quick caffeinated fix, whether you're on the go or you only have a few minutes to binge. So grab your mug and take a chug, because it's time for a caffeinated career double shot K-Cup with my guest, Ben Weiner. You actually won an award for your honors thesis, which you wrote on Nicaraguan debt relief.
Yes.
Do you remember enough about that thesis to give us the headline? I'm just curious. Did it plant a seed in your brain that was actually germinating then for a number of years about how you might help Nicaragua economically?
Yeah, it showed me, doing the research for it taught me a lot about how Nicaragua's economy works and how a lot of economies in the developing world work by interviewing so many people. And it gave me the opportunity to say, I'm a student. Can I go in and interview the chief economist of the Central Bank of Nicaragua? And they would say, okay. Say, I'm a student. Can I go interview the head of this gigantic exporting corporation? And they'd say, okay, come in on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And so it really opened a lot of doors doing that research. And the nutshell of the research was there was this debt pardon. It was called the Highly Indebted Poor Countries Initiative, whereby the IMF, International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank and the Paris Club, which was a bunch of European countries lending to developing countries, were going to pardon the external debt of Nicaragua. And the thinking behind it was that without all of this expensive debt servicing, which are interest payments that countries pay on debt, the country is going to be able to invest in things like education and in roads and all these things and be able to get ahead. And what I researched from an on-the-ground perspective was, or what I found out, was that the roads are so bad in Nicaragua, and they should have a great healthcare system, but it lacks a lot of funding. And the electricity goes out every day, and the water is non-existent every single day, all day long in many places. And your truck's going to break down 100 times a year or many, many times. And so all of these public goods were non-existent, and the transaction costs of doing business were so high that new companies weren't going to emerge in a significant way. And the economy wasn't going to just take off just because you pardoned the external debt, because the infrastructure was so poor. And so you need to work on improving the infrastructure simultaneously with any debt relief if the country is going to have any chance of getting ahead. You can't just look at the books and just at the economics. You have to look at what's actually happening on the ground. And so that did plant a seed to ways in which I could actually do something that would have an impact. And I saw that just improve the road of the mountain where our farm is, and all of a sudden there'd be more economic activity. And I saw that happening, and I saw, okay, well, maybe we can make some more market linkages and make some more connections between people and do a lot of good. And so that let me know I wanted to work more on international policy rather than just domestic, to have this. I saw that in Nicaragua, with a little bit of investment, you could have a lot of impact. And then that later on, led to me working in the Senate and then branching off into coffee eventually.
Thanks for tuning in to this K-Cup mini episode of Time for Coffee. If you want to listen to our entire caffeinated career conversation, please check out the show notes for this episode. Thanks so much for listening to Time for Coffee, where the professionals in the jobs that most interest you always have time to grab coffee 24/7, no matter where you live. I have one quick favor to ask you. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to Time for Coffee. Thanks so much.